Healing magic in Neosia can be explained as redirecting ether from one source to a target body with the intention to accelerate the person's natural regenerative ability. However, as we know, there are many schools of healing magic around this world, and the way each of them approach this basic principle can vary. Also, not all of the teachings are equal, as some of them can be quite dangerous to both the caster and the world. In Gridania, there is a school of healers that teach the forbidden healing art, which is called white magic.
So, white magic is a form of magic that focuses on restoration and purification. And as we all know, that healing magic is very taxing in terms of ether usage. Also, different schools of magic use different sources on top of their personal ether. So, for white mages, it is the connection with nature that helps them cast a spell.
The origin of this branch of magic can be traced back to the 5th Astral Era, which is the period where the War of the Magi took place. And the two major forces are the Maquis and the Amdapori. Amdapor was the major rulers of the regions until the Mag discovered black magic and its destructive power, which they used to challenge and expand against Amdapor. Seeing this new form of destructive and powerful magic, the city of Amdapor then quickly analyzed the said black magic, and later found out that the principle of it is to use the invisible ambient ether to supplement a higher caliber spell. With that secret being discovered, the Amdapori soon create the perfect counter to that of the Maquis, called white magic. While black magic is a destructive force gained by ambient fire, lightning, and ice ether, white magic is the restorative power produced by ambient earth and wind aspected ether. And thus the War of the Magi begins, and the Great War of polar opposite teachings erupted. Right now I'm standing in the ruin of Amdapor City, which is once a thriving capital and also a major player in Neosia during that times. But as you can see, this is all ruins. And the reason for their downfalls is actually themselves. As war went on and on, the more ambient ether is being used by both sides and draining the star to the point that the elemental balance is being thrown toward the water element, which eventually caused the 6 Umbral Calamities, the Calamities of Water, which swept all of the prior major players off the map of Eorzea, and along with it, almost all of the arcane knowledge. As a result, white and black magic then become a forbidden craft, responsible for causing the apocalypse. White mage then become a rare title taught to those selected few who the elementals of the 12 would trust and deem worthy, so the balance won't be tipped over again.
You know, people are often confused between conjury and white magic. Conjury is the result of taking a cautious approach to white mage teaching. By limiting the craft, it allows the magic to be used without causing harm to our star. Only take what is necessary and only take what can be regenerated is the main principle of conjury. So, with the lower ethereal input, right? The spell that is produced by conjury is nothing compared to white magic.
White magic, when compared to conjuries, is more focused on healings and protections, as we can see from the spell that is taught, like benedictions, asylums, or divine benison. Benediction is solely the restorative type, which is casted by gathering the surrounding ether into a concentrated healing energies and apply it to the target to instantly heal all wounds. While Asylum uses the same principle, but instead of single powerful burst healing, the technique focuses on covering larger areas and prolonging the magic to cure many wounded at the same time. And lastly, Divine Benison, the spell that applies thin layers of water shields around a person to protect them from any further damage. Even though Conjurers and White Mage both use the same ambient ether, the deeper understanding of natures that White Mage possess is what allowed them to hold more natural ether within them and use it more effectively, which is the main difference between the two.
Let's say that conjurers can feel the elemental around them, but white mages can communicate with and understand them.
But other than the teachings of magic itself, the equipment of white mage is also important.
Here is where we store the recovered Amdapori white mage robe. We have Orison set, 7th Heaven set, over there is Eber set, and right next to me here is Theophany set. So in each of these, you can clearly see that the design is very different from each other, but the main color scheme stays the same, which is white and red. This is important to white mages because the color of the robe that they wear represents their duty, which is to cleanse and to heal. White represents purity and red represents blood or vitality of life. Also, a little bit of history for you. Back in the day, for a white mage to be able to wear this robe, it was really hard. They have to undergo intense training, be recognized by the Council of Magi, and be officially granted a soul crystal of white mage. So yeah, to be able to stand this close to a once highly respected piece of clothing is quite something if you ask me.
But the robe of white mage is not all that they have in their arsenal, as another important tool for them is the staff, which is their arcane focus of choice. The staff comes in all shapes and sizes, but usually the materials are from nature's and stay as true to its origins as possible, due to the natures of white magic, which emphasize on connection between white mage internal ether and their surrounding ether. With that said, the material that is still attuned to the natures is the best medium to facilitate the flow between the two. The process of making a staff can be as complicated or straightforward as the user wants it to be, but like many crafts, the more delicate the process is, the more power the product will hold. For example, in the case of Truth Seeker, the previous staff of Yashtola, the wood was first purified in a stream of crystal clear waters in the 12 woods, then it was sanctified by Brother Izumiyan alongside the elementals, which made the material be blessed by the spirit of nature themselves. And later it is shaped and carved to fit the user as well as possible by an artisan. These dedicated process then make the Truth Seeker able to grant great power to its user, and this is just one example of many staff produced to connect the caster's soul to the invisible stream of ether around them. It is quite interesting to think that this branch of magic started as a new form of healing magic to be used in the war, which lost its true identity as people abused its power and caused the whole world into a dark age. But after that hard lessons of great calamities, the people and the elementals come together once again and learn to see the art in its true light and slowly reconnect with the true origins of this craft, which is to cleanse and to heal, and not to corrupt or to kill. After decades of developments and practice, it eventually has become the foundations of healing magic that saved many lives all over Eorzea today.